So today we're going to show you how to install a winch on your Toyota Tacoma. This is a VEVOR winch, so it's very, very, very reasonable on the pricing. And I'm 6'4", and you can see this thing is actually beefy sucker. It comes with the nylon rope, so it's not going to get a bunch of knots on it and stuff. So it's good rope. It seems like heavy duty. I mean, this thing weighs a ton. It's got your release here for your clutch release. So we're going to see how easy that is to access once we get it installed. Like I said, we'll see. I'm going to show the bumper that I have to install to have this thing work. Now, you could get like for the Toyota Tacoma, you could get a winch plate that would go inside your stock bumper, and then you would have to cut a hole in the bottom of your bumper for this plate to come through. But the winch plates were only like 50 bucks different than buying an entire bumper assembly. Now this isn't, you know, the fanciest bumper I could find. Put that down. But, and I'll show this in the description too, for what this thing is. I mean, this thing is beefy. This thing is heavy duty. It'll hold up to, I think it's a 11 or 10,000 pound winch. I have a 13,000 pound, but you know, to each their own on that. But like I said, nice and beefy, and it was only $50 more than getting a plate and then having to cut in the bumper, where this already has the slot, and then I can put that bracket that VEVOR gave me right on there. So it's gonna look really nice and clean install. Oh, and the bumper came with this. So you put this here, and you put this here. And of course, you know, you bolt it up, make it look nice. And then your license plate goes over it. So when you're driving down the road, you won't even see the winch on it normally. I know you want to show off the winch, but it's nice to have the license plate right there. And this gives your Toyota 2 recovery points. And from looking at the welds, they are welded on really, really well. So I'm hoping that this thing works out really well. Like I said, it was only like 50 bucks more than the winch plate that you could put on there. So cheap, and it's heavy duty. I mean, this thing is 1/4 inch thick metal here, 1/4 inch thick metal here. So it weighs a ton, heavy, and 1/4 inch here too. So I see this as a win-win. And what this will do, it'll replace this piece, and you take this off, you take the grill off to access everything, and it should like lip right over this, is what I'm thinking it's going to do, but we'll see. So let's get started installing this thing. Oh, and by the way, the VEVOR winch is, you know, it's not the cheapest, because the cheapest you're going to get junk, but from what the reviews and everything said on this thing, it's very reasonably priced and high quality. So let's get it installed. So there's no instructions with the kit, which, you know, it's a cheap bumper, so, but it's heavy duty but cheap. So we're just gonna wing it. It seems like I would just pull the grill off. By the way, these grills really easy to pull off. There are 2 10mm screws on top. And then you take a flat screwdriver and you pop these little clips, and I'll show you the clip. So just pop these little things up, pop that up, and this pops right out. One on each side. Like I said, they're pretty easy to pop up, and let's see what happens. And I guess just pops right out. It does. So there is one little clip here, and unclip the sensor for your forward collision sensor. All right, that's it. Now your grill is off. Sorry about the sniffing. I got a cold this week. All right, so, let's see. From what I am thinking, I'll pop my license plate off. All right, do that there. Phillips. This is a time when you shouldn't wear shorts. I see what I did. I put the nuts with the license plate bracket. That way, when you start putting this stuff back together, you have it all together. You don't have to hunt for anything. And you may or may not have to use it, but since we don't know yet, let's assume we do. Look at that, no bolts. That thing just pops right off. Okay, so if you look at the new bumper we have 3 mount points on each side. And there's one here, one there, and 2 on the other side over here. And I think I can get to those on the bottom side, but I don't think it's going to be hard at all. Now, from what I've understood is if you have the tow package, this transmission cooler that's here, you got to relocate it a little bit. So we'll see how that goes when it comes time for that. But again, it's only 2 bolts there, probably a size 12 or 13. And I've heard that you just got to move it back a little bit to make some room for the winch. So let's get that off. By the way, take your time because, you know, you don't want to bust something and then have to buy that part, because as of right now, we're not spending much. But if you break something that's plastic, now all of a sudden you are spending a lot. So take your time doing this stuff. Like, I'm sure this plastic shield here is $100. So don't go smashing at it. Just think of it as everything under here is $100 or more. Now, I'm not trying to scare you off from doing this. I'm just trying to make sure you're well informed when you start doing stuff, so you don't go crazy. So I learned you do need to pull these things out. There are just a couple little clips to pull it off, and this gives you access to everything. I bent this bracket up after I took it off over there. It was just a little 10mm bolt, and I was able to access these really easy now instead of having to fight underneath. So really easy access. Now, from what I'm seeing, this should slide off without having to take the bumper itself off. You know, the plastic part. So let's try it. Give a little, what they call influence. Look at that. It's as if Toyota wanted you to take this off to put a cool bumper on. Thing pops right off. Now this is the reinforcement for the bumper, and the new steel bumper will be the new reinforcement that's replacing this. Now, of course, you should know that technically you're changing out the structure, so you are, you know, changing a little bit of the how this thing crash tests. That's the reason why they never crash test these things with the winches on. So according to this will slide in here. That. And they say no cutting, but they really mean minor cutting, because I've heard you do have to cut a little bit to make these things fit. So you will have to do a little minor cutting on this bumper, and it's right here where you'll have to do the cut, but it's pretty minor, and there's trim that covers up the cut. Okay, so during the install, I wanted to point a couple things out. There are square nuts that are on this winch on the bottom, and what I would do is tape them into the hole that they go in. So there's a little hole that they go in. Tape it in there, and then lay this on your bumper, and then put your bumper up here, then bolt your bumper on your truck. That way you have something nice and sturdy, your bumper, to bolt this down to. It won't be a nightmare trying to line those nuts up after the fact. So like I said, put tape on the nuts, put this inside the new bumper, put the bumper on, and this will be loose, and then you can tighten it up after you get it on your truck. And you can see below, it's a lot easier to do this while it's being mounted on the truck. It's just you need the winch to be in there already, because you can't really squeeze it through this gap. So you got to kind of put it on at the same time. And then you can bolt these on. These are really easy to bolt on. It's just 2 bolts, really nice and easy. It really cleans up the look on it. I really like that. And you can see you got some hook recovery points in the front, and it's starting to shape up. Now what I saw was right here, you do need to cut the bumper, and it's right in the crack of that seam here, coming down, and where it comes up here, and then the entire center plastic piece comes out, and I'll show you that. So here's the center piece that comes out, and like I said, you need to cut it right there. And I cut it there at the beginning because I was a little nervous about overcutting, but you really got to take this entire centerpiece out. So you can see the wiring on the wiring diagram tells you to put the red on the red, yellow on the yellow, and the black on the black. These are all short wires, and you have 2 long wires. One long wire goes to the bottom, terminal A, and the other long red one that comes from this terminal box goes to your battery. So it's actually pretty easy to wire up. I was kind of amazed how easy it was to wire. Now this little box, what I ended up doing is I bent the back bracket and then just bolted it to this as low as I could. That way it's inside the grill area. I can access it if I need. I got my remote plug-in right here, and I got that wired up, and I just got it all wrapped up here. That way when I do need it, I can just grab it from there, and I can reach it from the cab of the truck. I thought about using the wireless little thing, but then I'd have to get in here and hook it up every time. So I think the wired is the way to go on this. But like I said, it's so easy to hook up. I'm keeping the wireless dongle thing just in case I ever decide to use it. So with that said, I put these on. That way you got your air coming back into your radiator. And let's put the grill back on. Okay, so I just wanted to make a real quick note. The grill just pops right in. It literally just snaps right in. And then you got your 2 10mm bolts here. And then over here, your clips. So it literally pops in with those clips. And something really neat. Look at that. Because I got access to all this, I can easily hook my wireless dongle thing right up here to have this thing a wireless remote control winch. I didn't realize how much room I would have in here. And to access the winch disconnect, I would just pull this up and turn it. So that releases the clutch on the winch. Really, I love the way this thing is set up, and it's a hidden winch too. So look at the front. So when you see the front, it's a nice hidden winch. Now I gotta do a little more dress up on the grill in the middle, as you can see right there. But I'm gonna get that dressed up real soon. But everything else looks really clean. So I'll get it dressed up and let you see it. So we are hooked up and it is ready. So here's the remote for it, and you can hook the wireless dongle right down there. So as I said, tons of access to that. When I need to release my clutch, let me move all this stuff. When I release my clutch, I just reach down and turn it. Now it can freewheel. There it is. Now when we want to have it wind up again, I engage the clutch, and there she goes. Dumb rookie mistake, I didn't engage the clutch. And then when you're done, you take the remote off, put this wiring back where you want to keep it tucked away, put your remote inside your glove box. Make sure that all your wiring is tucked away and good, because you don't want to catch it on anything. Take one more good look to make sure that you have everything put up and put away exactly where it's supposed to. And I see one thing I need to do. It's very minor, but I gotta re-hook up my grill switch. That way it tells me my distance from the front. And that is it. Make sure that you shut it slow and then shut it fast. That is it. Look at that. It took about maybe 2.5 hours of work. It wasn't that hard. I would say a Sawzall would be nice to have, or some sort of plastic cutting device to cut the edge. And I'll show you a picture of that, exactly where to cut it, right up here. That way you can see where to cut it at. But it's a nice, solid bumper. The cool thing is that my skid plate that's on there already, this thing goes right to it. So it's like a continuous skid plate now. I love that part. And you can just roll right up to a rock or whatever and scooch right over it. So really, really nice. So that is it. Like I said, 2.5 hours worth of work. It wasn't that hard. I am going to put a little bit of extra trim around here to make it a little bit nicer looking. The side trims are really nice. I just need to get a little piece for the front. It doesn't look bad right now, but I'm still going to put a little extra on there. But like I said, that's it. Easy to put together, and about 2.5 hours worth of work. Not too many tools, and that's it. All right, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, because you all make it happen.